a little bit. Wait. It's going live. It's taking a little while.
It says live on Facebook.
Okay. Okay, good evening, everyone. Welcome. This is Jamaica Diaspora Education Task Force in collaboration with Morningside Primary and Infant School. We are doing virtual story time, and this is happening every Tuesday, starting at 7:30 p.m. Jamaican time or 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay. Now, I'd like to introduce to you the principal from Morningside Primary and Infant School, Miss Nahela Lynch, and she will introduce our reader for tonight. And we have two special guests who are going to respond to some questions afterwards. So welcome, guys, everybody. Miss Lynch, go ahead.
All right, let's begin by asking our special guests to introduce themselves. So we begin with Miss Randio.
Good night. My name is Randa Greaves. I'm 11 years old, a proud student of the Morningside Primary and Infant School, and in the future, I'd like to become a surgeon or an actress.
Good job.
Kimoya, over to you.
Good night. I'm Kimoya Watson. I am very overwhelmed to be on here tonight. I am 12 years old, and in the future, I'll hopefully want to become a plastic surgeon.
Okay, good job. Good job, Kimoya.
So, boys and girls, tonight we have a special reader. For those in Jamaica, we know her as Miss Swaby, but she has migrated to the United States, and they'll know her as Mrs. Greensburg. Miss Swaby, or Mrs. Greensburg, taught in Jamaica for 14 years. She taught at the Alligator Pond Basic and the Martha Simpson Basic School for between, and they shared. I think you were at the infant in Alligator Pond for 4 years, right? Yes. And she was at the Martha Simpson ECI for a whole of 10 years. She now lives in Maryland, and she teaches in the Montgomery County. So, ladies and gentlemen, the ever excited, the ever over the top, Mrs. Greensburg, over to you.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, Miss Lynch. You know you're a joker. So to our two students who are here, I know you have a great principal, and she is doing a lot for you all to ensure that you achieve those dreams of what you hope to become. So tonight, for our bedtime story, we are going to be sharing a story with you, which is entitled Those Shoes. And the story was written by Meribeth Boelts, Those Shoes. So this is a story about a boy who wanted the shoe that everyone was wearing. Sometimes we feel like that too. So let's see, what lesson are we going to learn as we learn about the characters in the story called Those Shoes by Meribeth Boelts. I have dreams about those shoes. Black high tops, 2 white stripes. Grandma, I want them.
There's no room for want around here, just need.
Grandma says.
And what you need are new boots for winter.
Brandon T comes to school in those shoes. He says he's the fastest runner now, not me. I I was always the fastest before those shoes came along. Nate comes to school in those shoes. Antonio and I count how many times Nate go to the bathroom. 7 times in one day, just so he can walk up and down the hall real slow. Next, Alan, Jacoby, and Terrence each get a pair. Then one day, in the middle of kickball, one of my shoes came apart. Looks like you could use a new pair, Jeremy, Mr. Alfrey, the guidance counselor says. He brings out a box of shoes and other stuff he has for kids who need things. He helps me find the only shoes that are my size. Velcro, like the ones my little cousin Marshall wears. They have an animal on them from a cartoon I don't even think any kid ever watched. When I come back to the classroom, Alan Jacoby takes one look at my Mr. Alfrey shoes and laughs. And so do Terrence Brandon T. and everyone else. The only kid not laughing is Antonio Parker. At home, Grandma says,
"How kind of Mr. Alfrey."
I nod and turn my back. I'm not going to cry about any dumb shoes. But when I'm writing my spelling words later, every word looks like the word shoes. And my grip is so tight on my pencil, I think it might bust. On Saturday, Grandma says,
"Let's check out those shoes you're wanting so much. I got a little bit of money set aside. Might be enough, you never know."
At the shoe store, Grandma turns those shoes over so she can check the price. When she sees it, she sits down heavy. Maybe they wrote it down wrong, I say. Grandma shakes her head. Then I remember the thrift shops. What if there's a rich kid who outgrew his or got 2 pairs for Christmas and had to give one of them away? We ride the bus to the first thrift shop. Black cowboy boots, pink slippers, sandals, high heels, every kind of shoes except the one I want. We ride the bus to the second thrift shop. Not a pair of those shoes in sight. Around the corner in the third thrift shop, I see something in the window. Black shoes, 2 white stripes, high tops, perfect shape, $2.50. Those shoes. My heart is pounding hard as I take off my shoes and hitch up my baggy socks.
"How exciting!"
Grandma says.
"What size are they?"
I shove my foot in the first shoe, curling my toes to get my heel in. I don't know how I think they fit. Grandma kneels on the floor and feels for my toes at the end of my shoe.
"Oh, Jeremy,
She says,
I can't spend good money on shoes that don't fit."
I pull the other shoe on and try to walk around. They're okay, I say, holding my breath and praying that my shoes will fall off, my toes, will fall off right then and there. But my toes don't fall off. I buy them anyway with my money, and I squeeze them on and limp to the bus stop. At home, a few days later, Grandma puts a new pair of snow boots in my closet and doesn't say a word about my two big feet shuffling around in my two small shoes. Sometimes shoes stretch, I say. Grandma gives me a big hug. I check every day, but those shoes don't stretch. I have to wear my Mr. Alfred shoes to school instead. One day, during math, I glanced at Antonia's shoes. One of them is taped up, and his feet look smaller than mine. After school, I head to the park to think. Antonio is there. The only kid who didn't laugh at my Mr. Alfred shoes. We shoot baskets. A loose piece of tape on Antonio's shoe smacks the concrete every time he jumps. I think I'm going to do it. We leap off swings. No, I'm not going to do it. We race from one end of the playground to the other. I'm not going to do it, I say. Do what? Antonio asks, breathing hard. Grandma calls me for supper and invites Antonio over too. After supper, he spies my shoes. Hey, how come you don't wear them? Antonio asked. I shrug. My hands are sweaty. I can feel him wishing those shoes were his. That night, I am awake for a long time, thinking about Antonio. When morning comes, I try on my shoes one last time. Before I can change my mind, the shoes are in my coat. Snow is beginning to fall as I run across the street to Antonio's apartment. I put the shoes in front of his door and push the doorbell and run. At school, Antonio is smiling big in his brand new shoes. I feel happy when I look at his face and mad when I look at my Mr. Alfred shoes. But later, when it's time for recess, something happens. Everywhere there is snow. Leave your shoes in the hall and change into your boots, the teacher announces. Leave your shoes in the hall? It's then that I remembered what I have in my backpack. New boots! New boots that no kid has ever worn before. Standing in line to go to recess. Oh my goodness, now we're going to play? Antonio leans forward and says, thanks. I smile and I give him a nudge. Guess what? Let's race! And off they went to play for recess. There you have it, Those Shoes by Meribeth Boelts.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Greensward.
You're welcome, Miss Lynch.
We thoroughly enjoyed your reading.
Thank you.
Dr. Dice, over to you.
All right, thank you very much. I was off for a little bit there. We had technical difficulties, but yes, we're back on. So guys, very wonderful story. I love them. It reminds me of my childhood with struggles with shoes. Trying to find shoes, actually to find more than one pair to wear any given time. But we want to hear from our invited guests, our ladies here. Um, so what do you think about the story in general? Let's start there. What do you guys think about the story? And we start with the head girl. What do you think about the story?
Randia?
It's a good children's story and
Okay.
very interesting
What makes it so interesting to you when you hear it?
because most children have the same experience.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Okay. What about Kimoya? Kimoya, what do you think about the story? Was it a good one? Did you enjoy it?
Yes, it was very exciting.
Okay.
What I like most about the story, it was very unpredictable because how he loved the shoes, I didn't thought he would do that. So to me, it was unpredictable.
Yes, that's good. Um, what do you think about the teacher though? The relationship with the teacher in the story? How the kid view the teacher? What do you think? That interconnectedness. You don't think there's a relationship between the main character and the teacher?
The teacher or the guidance counselor?
Guidance counselor who
Is
gave
the
the
guidance
shoes.
counselor?
The guidance counselor, yes.
Yeah, Mr. What's his name?
Alfred.
Mr. Alfred, yes, him. How
Yes.
do you see him in the story as it relates to the main character?
Oh, I see Mr. Alfred as the name of the shoes or as a name he gave to the shoes.
Ah, yes, anyway. Go on. You were saying something?
They have a good relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So was there a lesson? What was the lesson? What was the message?
You should try and appreciate what you have, and that as a child, he should recognize that what you need comes first than what you want.
Very good.
Beautifully said, Miss Green.
Yeah.
I'm proud of your response.
And you can to follow up with that too. Very good. The struggles that we go through. When you grow up poor or not having a whole lot, you decide on what is the need and what is the want, and you try desperately to go for the need over the want. So yeah, that's very good.
Yeah.
Miss Natasha, you want to say something? Yes.
So I'm happy that she mentioned that point because one thing for our, us as educators, we want to help our students to understand that satisfaction is key, and not that we are saying, in general, we want you to satisfy with what you have and what your parents can afford, because most times if you understand what your parents are going through and the struggles that we encounter as parents, to give you all these needs. When you grow up to be adults and you realize that, oh my goodness, my grandma made such a sacrifice for me, you're going to appreciate it, even more. So I'm happy that you saw that as a lesson in this story. And I know that that's something you're going to take from this, that regardless what I have, it's a need, and this is what my parents can afford. I'm going to be satisfied with it until they can afford something better or something that I need, or until I can afford it for myself. Because children can save to get themselves their needs too, because I know you get your pocket money. Yeah.
I'm not seeing Miss Kimoya's picture. Where's Miss Kimoya?
I think she turned her video off.
Yeah, she's
Kimoya, let us see your beautiful face.
Yeah.
No, I didn't turn my video off.
Okay.
Look down the
So,
bottom.
Miss Lynch, what do you think, like a message as a school principal for your school community, the book has for the school community, the story?
As I always tell them, we need to learn to be satisfied. It doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter what you have. It doesn't matter that the next person might have a little bit more than you. All of that doesn't matter. You need to just learn to be satisfied. My grandmother used to have a saying, say, you're not to be red-eyed.
Mm-hmm.
Because what happens is, a lot of times these children come to school and they may be from lower socioeconomic background, and they don't have what the other kids have. And so sometimes they tend to be a little bit shy, or they tend to think they're not good enough, or they tend to just say, you know, I would like to have that. So if somebody has even a pencil that is different from yours, don't ready eye after it. Be satisfied with what you have, because where you are now is not where you're going to be if you're dedicated and you stick to the task. So the message is always be satisfied with what you have.
Yes.
Be grateful. I always tell them gratitude. Let us learn to practice gratitude. There's a song I love to sing in devotion, even though I can't sing. If you have eyes and you can see, be grateful. If you have ears and you can hear, be grateful. You got up this morning, if you had a slice of bread and somebody else had something big, be grateful. Be grateful for what you have.
Yes.
It doesn't define you. What you have doesn't define you as a person, as an individual.
And just to add on to what Miss Lynch says, you know, even I think Kimoya made mention of this too, that even though he loved the shoe very much, he realized that in the end it wasn't his need. And this unselfish act of kindness that he did was really something that we realize in life. We have things that we love dearly, but it wasn't meant for us. So letting go sometimes can be hard. And it doesn't only go with our material things, like letting go of some of the habits that we have. It's hard. I love to be this, but guess what? It's not what's right for me. So we can take so many different lessons from just being caring, sharing. Even though this is something I cherish, I think you deserve this more than I do.
Yes.
You know, I was having a discussion. Okay, go ahead, Kimoya.
Ms. Greenwood, as you can see in the last part of the story, where they went to the park, it seemed like Antonio's shoes, it was like mashed up, because he said something about the tape. And what touched me the most is when when the shoes that he really loved, he gave it to Antonio, and Antonio's face the next morning, it was just bursting with smile.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he was very mad, but it didn't really matter to him because he made somebody smile.
Yes.
Yeah, that a lot of times, you know, Kimoya, you're very right. We don't really look at our journey as the destination. The destination is coming. So just like what Miss Natasha said, is you work with what you have now, because that's not your destination. That's not the end of the journey. The journey is you going through it now, but the end of it is that you work hard to have in the end, you know, or later on in life. It's a good way to look at life, especially now that we're going through a rough time. This is not the end. This is not the end. This is the journey. We don't use the journey as a destination. Yes. You know,
I was having a discussion with another teacher friend of mine, and I think we both love clothes and shoes a whole lot.
A lot, yes.
Yes, I agree with that.
Yes. And you know, it's funny that COVID-19 came and it showed us what's important. It wasn't our clothes, it wasn't our shoes, it wasn't our nails, it wasn't about just the outer beauty. I think what COVID did, it was made the inner beauty, the characters, the traits, you know, kindness. It stirred something in humans, because we now moved away from self, and we started making care packages. We started reaching out to others. So another message we can get, that material things does not define who you are as an individual, because at the end of the day, Antonio loved his shoe, but he saw that somebody else needed it more, and he gave it away.
Well said. Well said. Well said. And we will close off on that note. You know, if you don't need it, you can offer somebody. There are quite a lot of organizations right now doing a whole lot. We can contribute to those too. So it's very good, Miss Lynch. Well said. I want to say thank you to everybody who has come on and made your presence known. Thank you to our wonderful reader, Miss Natasha Swaby Greensword. I hope I'm pronouncing your last name correctly.
I will not correct you because I promised Miss Lynch that I wouldn't. But it's green. It's green.
I know it's Greensword, but because we're doing reading, I just switch and say Greensword. It's right.
Oh, Greensword. Greensword.
Yeah. Not tonight, dear. She's reading.
Okay, I'm reading tonight.
It's all wonderful. All right. Thank you, young ladies. Thank you so much for coming on. You're wonderful, and continue, really keep up the good work in your schools, your studies. Please study hard. It's a rough journey throughout school, but continue studying. We will see you all, and to all our viewers, we will see you back here next week, Tuesday night, either 7:30 Jamaican time or 8:30 Eastern Standard Time, okay? And even if you're on the other side of the world, like in Japan or in the Philippines, you can still listen to story time, even if it's daytime over there, okay? All right, guys, everybody take care. Please keep safe.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye. Bye, everybody.